everybody. It's Rick White here, president of the Peace Police, and I'm with my brother and friend and founder, Lowell Pass. How you doing, Lowell?
Hey everybody, good to
Man,
see
it's
you,
been
brother.
some crazy stuff recently, hasn't it, brother?
Wow, crazy.
Yeah, it's looks like you locked up again there. Wow. Hopefully you can get back in there, brother. But can you hear me, Lowell? Yeah. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, it was frozen there for a second too.
Yeah. It's been. I mean, the whole country seems like it's
Could
on
go
edge.
down all the way too.
Say what?
It could all go down too any minute.
Oh, I know. It's what's crazy. Yeah, like we could get shut down even right now on this call. I know
That's true.
we might sound a little weird or paranoid or whatever, but I know everyone that's watching and anyone that'll see this knows what it's been like these last few days and what's going on right now. This country is divided completely down the middle with a whole bunch of people on both sides, and one side is calling for immediate expulsion and prosecution and probably execution of the president the way they talk, and the other
Lord.
side is saying no, you set him up, you stole the election. So man, if there was ever a moment in history to have something like the Peace Police, I mean, we saw
Yeah.
this, Lowell. It was almost prophetic. You saw it in a dream. Why don't you talk about that for a second about
Yeah,
that dream?
it's 3 nights in a row. I don't, usually wouldn't call you on just one dream,
Right.
but I had this reoccurring dream with the same scenes in it of this stuff 2.5, 3 years ago, where the violence, the rhetoric became more violent, and people were lighting cities on fire and breaking up police cars and beating people up and shoving old ladies. And if you had a red hat or a Trump hat or whatever, you were in danger of your life.
Yeah.
And you had political people saying, get in their face, break up their meals, all this stuff. And then we begin to see this stuff on the news,
Oh
and
my
people
goodness.
probably thought way back then, you guys are nuts, man, you conspiracy nuts. But what I dreamed 3 nights in a row, I called you up and I said, I'm really concerned about this stuff. If nobody does anything, or even, we may not have a big impact, but let's start this thing. And I saw these shirts and things that said Peace Police.
In your
And
dream.
of all things, you said, yeah, I think that's a great idea. And you looked it up, and the name was available. And
Right?
so you came up with a logo for us, and we got our hats here and all,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
has the 3 stars. And we put together, a thing that a website that talks about our core values of peace, civility, and discourse. And more than ever, right now, this stuff has all come tumbling right down, just exactly like we saw it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I think it's just beginning right now, actually.
Hmm. Yeah, that's funny that you say that because that was gonna be my next comment. It's hard, you and I talk all the time, obviously, and it's hard to fathom for me any outcome in the next couple of days that doesn't result in riots in the streets.
Yeah, exactly.
Because here's the possibilities. Possibility A, there's a whole bunch of people trying to get Donald Trump out of office, even though he only has 10 days
nine
left.
days.
Nine
Yeah.
days left. Why are they doing that? Because he is the chief executive officer. He holds the kind of power that can turn on the emergency broadcast system and say, listen, all of you all shut up. Here's the facts. He has that power. If he does that, many people think that a lot of people on the other side are going to go to prison. Maybe even the Democratic nominee for president, maybe even the Speaker of the House. Who knows? That's one way it could go. Another way it could go is Trump just fades off into the distance. But if that happens, we're in for a Democratic House, Senate, and executive branch starting to do things. They've already said that they need to clean, they need to purge the country of the Trump
Of Trump
supporters,
philosophy,
of the
completely.
philosophy, and we need to
That's
go
because
after.
their philosophy is Marxist.
Right. So I'm kind of feeling like it's going to get uglier before it gets prettier, and we're going to see that this week. So you guys got to remember, of course, self-defense. That's not violence.
Yes.
You use whatever means necessary to defend
You use
yourself
the Second Amendment, right?
and your property. But other than that, peace, civility, and discourse, okay? Peace, civility, and discourse. You know why? Because then the contrast is just huge. And they, you know what, Lowell? They hate that about the right so much that, and I know I'm going to be a wacko tinfoil hat guy right now, but that's why they planted Antifa and BLM people in that rally on the 6th, because they knew we weren't going to get rowdy. They knew we weren't going to turn it into a riot. So,
Yeah, and even though some Trump supporters participated, there's now video of the Capitol Police, which were nowhere near prepared for some odd reason for a million protesters to show up. They weren't at all, and they did nothing last summer when the BLM marched right into the Capitol and into Nancy Pelosi's office. And they didn't call that a whatever you want to call it, a
yeah,
insurrection
breach, yeah,
or whatever.
they're
But
acting.
they have video of them opening the doors and saying, "Here's the way you go. Come on in." And you had a lot of Trump supporters following, some lunatics in there. Not a lot, but they were staying within the velvet ropes lines, like they were just touring the place, while other people were in there ransacking and doing some stuff. But the bottom line is, they were let in.
Of course they were.
And
You
there
can
are other
watch it.
videos of them trying to break the window, and Antifa group pack and the Trump supporters yelling, "No, no, that's Antifa guy."
Right.
And the stuff's all on video, but of course, you only see what you want to see in this world we live in now, because the media is going to block out everything you can see.
It's weird in a way, right? That it's almost, there's nothing that's a national media, especially on television. There's almost nothing you can trust. I mean, almost
Yeah.
nothing. I kind of tune into Newsmax right now. That's the only thing I can find left on any kind of cable channel that's national that seems to have any integrity. But if you're watching any of the mainstream, the three big networks, plus the 30 or 50 other second tier networks like CNN and those guys, if you're watching them, you're just not getting the truth. You need to understand it's propaganda because they want Trump gone, because Trump is upsetting their apple cart. And so it's propaganda, and they've gotten in cahoots. I know I sound like a nut with Facebook and Twitter and social media. Social media and media have become the enemies of freedom. Hate to
No
say
doubt
it.
about it.
It's the truth.
Yeah. And you're not going to have discourse with that going on. You're going to have,
Right.
that's one of the three core values we have. You've lost that because these companies, and the argument, of course, is, well, they're public companies, they can do anything, but they're not functioning as public companies. They're
Right.
functioning as news sources that can shadow ban, they can block, they can
Right.
ban whatever you say. And if
Right.
you go back and just look at some of the outrageous things the left has said,
Right.
they're never banned or fact checked or
Right.
or anything. It's only if the president speaks or his supporters speak. Just to let y'all know, I'm amazed I'm on this video because of the way you wired it and routed it, but I have been banned for a week as well. All of that stuff to people who normally speak out with a sane voice on the other side. By the way, we don't fall for all these crazy conspiracy things. We do our due diligence. Doesn't mean we don't believe some of them are true. A lot of what people call conspiracy has come to pass one after the other.
That's right.
And so you can't look back on it and say it was conspiracy. No, it was fact that came to pass.
Here, conspiracy is a crime. It wouldn't be a crime if it didn't exist.
Yeah, it's the nuttiest thing in the world. But anyway, I don't know if most have followed this thing, but there's video of the guy in Italy. There's a defense contractor who worked with the Italian government,
Right.
and they're all in a heap of trouble over there because they've had national court hearings, and the actual perpetrator that was controlling the satellite,
Right.
hacking into it, the Leonardo satellite, which is one of the 8 top defense contractors in the world, and was a NATO ordained satellite, so to speak, in that
Right.
pack of satellites, actually confessed to manipulating, hacking, and flipping the votes in 17 states in the United States.
Yes.
Now, whether that all comes to pass and we see that that's true, we're going to find out.
Yes.
But that guy has already said, you don't need a smoking gun. I'm the guy that pulled the trigger.
Right. We have
He
more than
said,
a smoking
"You
gun.
got
We
the
have a
smoking
confession.
gun. They got the smoking gun, but you guys just won't look at any of the facts. But I'm the one who pulled the trigger, okay?"
Yeah.
So now they're after the president of Italy and Conti, and all this stuff's going on. Meanwhile, most people on the left don't have a clue
Mm-mm.
of this stuff going on. They don't have a clue that Trump has been moved to a safe location. They don't have a clue that there are loyalists around him that are generals and ex-generals. They just automatically think, Trump. You don't have the kind of people that are with Trump falling for conspiracy theories like a Mike Pompeo, and you just
No.
don't.
No, that's exactly right. And we were talking earlier. You helped me understand the Insurrection Act, and that means that people have committed insurrection against us. They've allowed foreign governments and foreign entities to influence our election, and opened the door to them to do that through these machines and various things. That is high treason. That screwing with the election of a democracy or a constitutional republic is people are going to be throwing these things around all the time. They're already saying it about Trump, which is BS. But those are like firing squad offenses. You can't screw with the election. And they've been caught red-handed, but the problem is the media is complicit, I think. And they hate Trump so much that they don't care. It's like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Truth doesn't matter. Yeah.
No, they'll get in bed with anybody as long as you're against Trump. And
Orange Man bad sickness
yep.
has taken over any sense of responsibility, integrity, honor, honesty. And it just gets down to the point where it's like the truth is slapping you in the face like a big slab of meat, and you won't even look at it. It's like the courts. People say, "Oh, this all." He's failed. He's lost every one of the court cases. No, actually, he hasn't lost even one court case.
No, they just never
The
heard
court
him.
cases were dismissed before any discovery or any facts were allowed to be presented. And so, on the basis of facts and discovery, there's been no loss of any court case.
That's right.
The courts, which were many liberal appointees over the last 12, 14 years, they just dismissed the court cases out of hand. I'm most discouraged with the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Would not even settle for fact-finding discovery.
Yes.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And there's a lot of this is intriguing to all of us. I mean, it's interesting, right? It's also scary. One thing I want to say is, as we haven't been shy about the fact that we're Christians and that we've been involved in ministry and stuff. When we say things on this broadcast, we're not speaking as pastors or ministers. No. We're speaking as American citizens, and we have a right to do that. So I just want to be clear about that. Our church,
right? And it's not reflective of our doctrinal,
right,
fundamentals of the faith we believe in.
Right.
These are things that we're in this world. We're in a world of politics.
Right.
We're in a world where rules, laws, regulations, and different governments and different philosophies control the people.
Right.
I'm of the personal opinion that Marxist theology is not congruent with biblical theology.
Correct. Me too.
Some of the postures and platforms of the Democratic Party, such as abortion and, grown men in little girls' bathrooms and stuff like that, I'm not for that.
No.
And if you voted for Biden, I really got a lot of people ticked off, but I did have a lot of likes right before I was banned from.
You keep saying those
Facebook
things that get you banned.
Yeah.
The truth.
Yeah, and I mentioned let's get something straight and clarify something. If you voted for the Harris-Biden or Biden-Harris, whichever you want to say it, administration ticket, you voted for, and I listed 40 things there.
Abortion being a big one.
Yeah, and like things like, criminals over veterans, illegals over citizens, PLO over Israel,
Yeah.
no religious freedom, those kind of things. And I got to tell you, you can't separate the policy and platform and positions from the person you voted for. If you voted for that person,
No.
you voted for all those things. I mean, someday you're going to have to reconcile that by saying, I supported abortion.
That's
I
right.
supported this. I support. Don't say you didn't. You did.
That's right.
And so the way any of us change and grow and mature is to come to grips with what we do that's wrong.
Right. Yeah.
And
And if
it's
you,
just like us.
yeah,
You and I have a very strong feeling about honesty, about being honest, even in our own failures, our own shortcomings,
yeah,
our own mistakes. You
yes.
can't go on unless you start with confessing that it was wrong.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. There's so I mean, I wanted to make that one point about church. We have to be careful as pastors that we don't endorse people. Our church, Grace Online Church, would never endorse a
No.
candidate, but we're allowed to talk about issues, and that's what we're doing. But I was thinking, what possibly could happen?
Yeah, what do you think will happen?
I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of the
This will be on
different.
the air. You'll get to see if it came true.
Yeah, we'll see if this comes true. We'll come back to this. I'm watching the same people that you're watching. We're not looking at mainstream media. We're trying to kind of see behind the scenes a little bit. To me, it feels like there's a couple possibilities. Possibility A is that Trump goes quietly off into the night, and we become a more socialist nation, and the Republicans will never win again because they'll abolish the Electoral College. The reason I don't think that'll
Add other
happen.
states. They'll add 2 or 4 states, right?
Yeah, yeah,
They're thinking about adding DC and Puerto
right.
Rico, and yeah.
The only reason I think that won't happen is because of the man himself, Donald Trump. I feel like he's 70 years old. He's risen to the top of success on the planet, and he realizes now, 4 years after being the president, that there's more important things. There's principle. He's really a patriot. He's really stands up for the country and the values of the country, and he's not the shyster hypocrite that the left paints him as. If he were, yeah, he might just say, "Oh well, I tried. See you later," and maybe he will do that. But I have a feeling he knows what's at stake here. So I think one scenario is he calls martial law, and I think that could happen at any moment.
He institutes the Insurrection Act first.
And that's the emergency broadcast system, and that'll come in on our cell phones. And guess what? If that happens, that could happen in the middle of this broadcast. The only way that he can do it is to shut down all other media. He has to be the only voice out there, for a while. And that will send the left into an insane thing, because.
Oh, and by the way, Rick, one thing I want to mention on that is if you have an Apple iPhone or iPad, go into the notifications. I think it's under.
It's in settings. Sorry, I'm yawning. It's in settings, and then you go to
updates or
it's
software update, I believe.
Settings General Software Update. Settings General Software Update, and then when you get in there, you probably can't see that. Go to the bottom where it says Automatic Updates and make sure that's turned off. That's what you were going to say.
Off.
Right? Yeah.
Unless you don't want to hear the message over the emergency broadcast system, you have to ask yourself why Apple or any of these companies would try to block information. That's not American. It's not capitalism. It's not freedom. It's not liberty. And so sometimes something like this may be necessary if you've got a consortium of news media that's trying to block out the other side. I've always been a fan of hearing both sides of everything.
Yeah, of course.
That's what the Constitution is based on. And people that want to silence dissent, I mean, I don't agree with neo-Nazis. I hate them.
Me too.
But because of our freedom of speech, We have a right to listen to stuff that we don't like, or a right to turn it off, but we don't have a right to censor what
Right.
comes out. Now, they try to use the thing in what do they call it, inciting violence.
Right.
But if you go back and even listen to Trump, minutes after this so-called thing happened in the Capitol, he was never inciting any violence. He was telling
Never.
them to calm down, don't do this, respect the police, all this
He
stuff. So
came out
you
immediately,
got
and it
all this
wasn't
stuff going
enough for
on.
people.
Yeah,
He came
and
out
so you
immediately on
got this
Twitter and said,
emergency.
I'm sorry, on Twitter he said, there's no way. And they're like, well, that's Twitter. We need a live thing. So he did a live thing. He said, listen, I
Yeah, they're
unequivocally,
hiding that, though, of course. Yeah.
yeah. He's like, I unequivocally denounce the violence that happened today. Doesn't matter. They
Yeah.
don't want to hear
In
that.
case you don't want to connect it too, they keep talking about him being a racist when there's 15 years of video that you can go back and historically look where he denounces all racism, and he's done it 100 times, but they keep repeating the same filthy lie that he's somehow racist, even though he has employees, associates, managers, executives, people in the cabinet everywhere that are black, that are Asian, that are Latino. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. But I got to tell you, people who are uninformed, I think they want to be uninformed
That's
instead
right.
of doing their due diligence. They're not looking at. I automatically like to look up the opposite when someone says something that challenges my belief. I like to say that might be true. I'm going to go check it out.
Yeah, you have to. No position that you have is worth having unless you can defend it. And that's the problem. Is just what you said. Too many people just accept what they hear, the loudest voice, and they say, yeah, that sounds right. I'll go with that. You know, life and death is at stake here. You should probably check stuff out, you know? And you know,
This,
again, as Christians, we believe that God's ultimately in control. So we're not in
yes,
fear. But there's a lot of people that are really afraid right now. And, you know, our advice to you as citizens, not as pastors, is it may not get better right away. So you may want to start thinking about your eternity. Man,
yeah.
that sounds dark,
I
but
think if you want perfect peace, you better think about something more than this life right now,
right.
because it may all end. We could be as simultaneously hit with an attack from China or whatever. But I'll tell you what, to me, the most dangerous thing is when the media and these big companies, social media and all together on one side on the left,
Yeah.
think like this Rasputin character on what is it, Twitter or whatever,
Yeah, he's
that
the
they
head
think they
of
have the
Twitter.
right to silence the very president and every Republican, every supporter. This is what's so weird
You're
is
talking about Jack
Trump.
Dorsey, by the way.
Yeah, Jack Dorsey. You can't. First of all, you got to realize something. Trump is not a Republican.
Nope, that's correct. He doesn't like the
He's
Republicans.
he's a populist, centrist type of leader who will give hell to both Republicans and Democrats, anybody that he says has been fiddling in the deep state. It doesn't matter whether they're Republicans or so-called conservatives or Democrats, Marxists, socialists, whatever. He's against anything that's against the values he believes in.
Yeah,
And
which
so,
is called
first of all, you got a
integrity, by the way.
populist president that many Republicans have said never Trump because they're part of that deep state. And when we say deep state, don't scream out conspiracy. The deep state is simply long-term bureaucrats who have been appointed and they have a lifelong job and they're of a certain philosophy and they're seated all throughout our government, in the military down to the bureaucracies, the Secretary of State, the State Department. They're in there and they have certain philosophies, and many of them have been Obama, Clinton loyalists, and have pulled all kinds of shenanigans there. And so have the Republicans when
Yes,
they
that's right.
were exactly,
There's been political scandals for as long as humans have been alive, in the days of Julius Caesar and stuff like that. And America's had a ton of them on both sides. We've had
Yes.
Richard Nixon, and we've had Bill Clinton. We've had all kinds of stuff because that's the way politics works. It's a spy versus spy
The
kind of
dirty,
a
yeah.
bloodthirsty business. But the thing is, you can't. When I was really really young, I just said I don't even care about it. I'm not going to vote. Whatever.
Yeah, I didn't either,
I
even though
did that, and I understand when people say that because I was that a long time ago. But what I've realized now is, for me personally, I want to be on record cosmically. Kind of a weird
Yeah.
thing, but I want to be.
No.
I want to be on record.
Awesome.
If anyone was ever going to look at the book of my life and say this is what Rick stood for, I want to be on record as saying I will never, ever, ever support the killing of an innocent baby, no matter what.
Right.
Because it's an abomination unto the Lord, and he says it'd be better if you tied a millstone around your neck and jumped into the river or into the sea. So I want to be on record as being against abortion. And listen, that's a one issue vote for me. And I do believe personally that if you consider yourself a Bible believing Christian and you voted for Biden, I think you got to think that through, because you just put a check mark somewhere that said it's okay to kill a baby, even if it's just first and second trimester, but really third trimester, the whole thing.
Yeah.
You've kind of agreed
the
to.
day of birth, right?
And that's like saying it was, in my opinion, and I know I'll get in trouble for this, that's like saying, Hitler did what he had to do. It was right for him. He has a right to have his own philosophy.
Well, and then you got the 64 gender agenda. Now, do you really think there's more than two? Ask any biologist on the planet. Are there more than two genders? They're going to tell you no, there's male and female.
Right.
There's certain DNA that shows, the chromosome, they came from woman, man, But then you got the weirdest thing. They're trying to pass pronoun names of 64 different genders. I mean, are you going along with that? Do you want the check mark next to your name on that one? Or that men feel like, today I'm a little girl, so I'm going to go in the little girl's bathroom today?
Yeah.
I'm just not understanding how people can separate the person from the platform in which they hold and plan to rule and reign, so to speak, with all their crazy dogma. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'll put the U.S. another 30 trillion in debt.
Yep.
They'll do a Green New Deal where they're stopping cows from farting, and you going on an airplane, but you can be assured they'll have their own private airplanes.
Well, anyone who knows me knows that I can.
I got to tell you,
Anyone that knows me knows that I can go better than a cow anyway. So I'll...
That's right. They're going to arrest you before they put the cows down.
I created the hole in the ozone.
Yeah, it's good that we can laugh though, but that's because, to tell you the truth, I hope you kind of sense a nervous laugh that we have.
That's right.
Because in the next 48 hours, you could see some pretty wild stuff going down. I don't know if it'll happen, but I think you're right. Trump has one window of opportunity to say, look, if we do want to see the facts, if we do want all the truth to come out, even the whistleblowers be able to say what they did and what they saw and what they participated in and confess it. We should all want to hear that. If we don't want to hear it, I think there's a problem. If I was a winner of anything, it's just like in the NFL, if you had a replay of that was a touchdown. No, he was out of bounds. You got all 7 different wide angle lenses and people re-looking at it over a stupid football game. But the thing that will decide whether America goes far to the left or our regular values of freedom, liberty, and so on, and freedom of speech and all continue, don't worry about that.
No.
That just doesn't make sense to me. If I won an election, I would want it to be shown to everyone. Double check it 2, 3, 5 times. I don't care. I won.
Yeah, no, nothing to see here, though. The guy in Italy who confessed to being the programmer that swapped votes from Trump to Biden, nothing to see here. He incriminated himself just because he loves Donald Trump, I guess. Not, just move along.
No, and he even admitted in his affidavit that he was doing what was wrong.
Yeah, he
says that wrong. I got swept up in it.
Yeah.
See, listen, this is what makes me sad. Is the CIA participated it from the embassy in Rome, participated in it, along with Britain's MI5. There are other people involved all the way up to the Vatican. And so there is all kinds of hell breaking loose in Europe right now. Now, you may not even see this on our news for another 10 days or 2 weeks
Right.
because they're banning it all. They're shadow banning it, they're blocking it. But you can go on BBC and other platforms around the world. I don't know if I would go through Google. Google likes to shadow ban everything, so I would use DuckDuckGo
Right.
and try to find things. I like to try to find things that are contrary to what I believe.
Sure.
I know that sounds nuts, but I like to find it to challenge my beliefs to
Right.
see if I need to change my beliefs.
Right. That's crazy. You actually want to have integrity.
Yeah, it's a tough concept,
Mhm.
honesty.
Yeah. Exactly. No, but that's it's a good point. It's there's this belief that, well, look, every channel is saying that Trump's a horrible rat. Every channel I turn to. So the whole world believes that Trump's a rat. No, you know who believes it? 1 millionth of 1%, who is the media. But the problem is that's where everyone is getting their information. It's like, it's Facebook is
Well, you know what?
influencing them.
I just thought of something, an analogy. When you just
Yeah,
said that it triggered something. Let's
cool.
say that you, whoever you are out there, we're going to talk to your 15 worst enemies, people you've had a conflict with, people that believe bad about you. And that's who we're going to put up. And we're not going to put up all the people that love you. And we're not going to put up the people that support you and said all the good you've done. We're just going to go to these 15 people, and they're going to be our source on you. And so, would you want that to be your legacy? Or would you want 15 to say that and then 1,500 to come forth and say that's bullshit?
Right. No, that's right. That's,
Yeah.
it's exactly right. And the thing is it's not about a man. It's not about Donald Trump. It's about Donald Trump didn't have anything to gain financially, and he entered into a
No,
political system that is
got to
built.
start with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was unfortunately it's a political system that now has become a corrupt financial gain situation, like you said. Everyone talks about how we can only have a president for 2 terms, and we saw that was a good thing. But what's Nancy Pelosi then? The queen? My gosh, the lady's been in power for
35 years
40
or whatever.
years. She's a multimillionaire on $180,000 a year, and it hadn't always been 180,000. When I was a kid in high school, I think it was 30 or 40,000. It goes up every year. Um, but I've made somewhere similar to that. I'm no millionaire. Why on earth is she a millionaire? Well, because lobbyists want to give her money to do their bidding. And man, when you're in there for 30 some years, you just like that ice cream, the $10. You like that pool. You like getting
You
your
like
hair done when
thousand
there's a
dollar freeze.
yeah. You got
Yeah,
to
that's
get your
right.
permit. You got to get your permanent wave, even if there's this is who you are now. You're the elite of the elite. You're the high class. You're smarter than everyone. You think better than everyone, and you never have to worry about anything because you have so much money. And the last thing you're going to do then is jeopardize your station in life for the truth. And what we need is the truth.
Yeah,
Crazy
and just
world.
just to mention her, something interesting this week, and you may see it come out in the next few weeks, is that Pelosi went to the general's chief of staff, General Miley, and asked him to take away the football, the nuclear codes
From
from
Trump.
Trump. First of all, it was illegal for her to do that, to go around the executive branch
Right.
and to go there. But thankfully, General Miley said, no, there's one president right now, and he has the executive power,
That's
and
right.
we're not going to go near that kind of crazy suggestion.
That's great.
Um, so, you have some good, and you got some white hats, and you got some bad hats, you got some black hats. You got, I shouldn't have even said the word black because they'll say, oh, you're a racist for saying white hats and black hats. But
Has
now it's
nothing to
gotten
do
to where
with
you can't
race.
say anything. You can't use an analogy. You can't
Let's just call him.
use certain words. You
Yeah.
can't say mother, father. You can't, you can't say brother, man, woman.
Amen and a woman.
I mean, you talk about the height of ignorance.
Idiocy. It is idiocracy. That's idiocy.
Yeah, as if amen has anything to do with sex or men.
Or masculinity. It's Latin for so be it. And a woman.
Yeah, but there's people on here right now that are mad at us for saying the truth about it.
I know. Hey, we always knew we were strangers and aliens and pilgrims on this planet anyway.
I
So
don't care.
we're going to keep speaking the truth, even if it's to our own detriment. The Bible says that a wise man or an honorable man keeps his word even when it's to his own detriment. So we're not telling you anything that we don't believe, and we're not telling you to take a stand or do anything that we're not willing to do ourselves. Frankly, I'm just not going to go along with socialism, and I'm not gonna just sit back and watch religion be purged from our country and freedom and
rights taken away.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I can do. I know that God Christ in me could do some stuff. So, but I'm not gonna be quiet.
And neither are Rick. Let me tell you something. No matter what they try to do to vilify Trump, even though after his, go look it up, 457 record-breaking accomplishments, more than any president has had ever in office.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with it. Just go look it up and make yourself mad. Okay. So if they try to vilify him and everything else, 75 million people, I would venture to say it's closer to 100 million, because even 28% of Democrats don't believe this was a fair election.
Right.
So quietly and privately, people are saying, even Democrats, that there's no way that Biden got over 80 million votes. They can't even have an inaugural parade, not because of any of this scared of violent stuff. It's because you wouldn't get 10,000 people there in front of the event. I mean,
Yeah.
But
You're right.
You're not going to have 80 million people just be silenced and go away. Now, they might start putting us in camps and, condemning us and arresting us and all kinds of stuff. But if you think that's going to cause more compliance to the socialist state, it's not going to.
No.
Because you've got patriots that are willing to die.
That's right. There are people.
Well, then shoot me.
There are people willing to die for their country. They do it every day in foreign wars and all overseas, and they don't have to be religious or Christian. But when you add to that, people who know that this place isn't their home and know that in this world we're going to suffer tribulation and persecution, those people just aren't going to back down. It's like, listen, all you can take from me is my life, and that's a promotion. So they got a lot of surprises ahead of them if they think that it's just going to be swept under the rug and Biden's going to make everybody happy again. They're already calling for people like you and me to be silenced. So we're just going to keep going, brother, because
down the statues of Lincoln and George Washington, put up Che Guevara,
Yeah, exactly.
We're not going to do that. It's
sorry. All right, bro. Hey, it's been 40 minutes, man.
Wow.
We can talk about this forever. So that was us just kind of sharing what we're going through right now. We hope that's helpful to you. Check out peacepolice.net. That's just a website. So it's important to know that if something happens and you don't see Peace Police on Facebook anymore, or Grace Online Church on Facebook anymore, know that we have websites, and we'll reach out to you at those websites. And our website for Peace Police is peacepolice.net, www.peacepolice.net. I'm a software guy, so if I need to turn that website into, you can log in and your conversations are, private and we can have discussions, I can turn it into a little mini social network for whoever wants to do it. So, but that's not the point. The point is, if we go away tomorrow on Facebook, that wasn't us, just so you know. Come find us. Yep. We'll be here. All right, we'll see you next time. Spread the peace. Stop the hate. Let's work together before it's too late. See you later.
Spread the peace. stop the hate. Let's work together before it's